Welcome back to Messing About Models with me, John. Today we're going to be looking at weathering a wagon and using some simple tools and paints to do that. What we've got is a fairly basic wagon from Dapol. You can pick these up for sort of £12 to £14. They're a relatively basic design of wagon. Limited edition models might be £20. But they provide a cheap alternative to the more expensive wagons that are available. So let's open it up and have a look at. Let's have a look at the tools that we're going to use. We're going to use a fiberglass pencil, sort that you might use for cleaning the wheels. We're going to use a variety of brushes, some soft ones and some stiff ones. We're going to also use some varnish in a spray can. And we're gonna got a black wash. This is one from Vallejo, but Humbrol do one as well. And we're going to use that. It's kind of like a thinned down acrylic paint. If you haven't got access to a wash, just thin down a normal acrylic paint. And we've also got some rail match new timber paint, but you can use a variety of paints which will produce a wood type of colour, sort of light brown or beige colour. And we've also got some weathered black. Again, sort of any black will do. We've also got some weathering powders. So we've got some smoke and dark earth and some rust. So let's open up the wagon and have a look inside. Right, as we can see, it's a fairly basic wagon, but it comes with a coal load, which we'll need to take out. And it's quite nicely decorated. Printing is very good quality on there. And it comes with normal tension lock couplings. So one of the first things we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take out the wheels because we don't want to get those covered with paint, and we're going to need to take out the coal load. So we'll start by doing that. Just need to ease out the axle boxes holding the wheels together, and the wheels come out fairly easily. Make sure you put them somewhere safe so that you don't lose them. And then take out the coal load as well. And as you can see inside, there's actually quite a bit of interior detail. So you've got all that, all those planks, etc. And we'll be using our weathering to highlight all that detail. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our fiberglass pencil to rub down the sides of the wagon, and that's just to scuff up the lettering and just roughen it up, make it appear more worn, and give it that sort of look of having been used rather than the look of it having come straight out of the factory. So it's just giving it a rub with the fiberglass pencil, scuffing it up a bit like that, just giving it a bit of rubbing it, and just you just blow off the little bits of white paint just to sort of clean up the side of the wagon as you go. What that does is makes the lettering all nicely faded, looks a bit weather beaten and battered. And you can go as much or as little as you like on this. If you're wanting to represent a wagon that's many years old, seen better days, you can really have a strong go with that. If you haven't got a fiberglass pencil, you can also use the back of a craft knife, just to very gently rub and scratch away very lightly the lettering on the side there. So and then once you've done that, one thing you can do is we can use our new timber coloured paint to pick out one or more of the planks in the wagon to represent a plank that's been replaced but not repainted. So you want to choose a brush that's got a very fine tip, because obviously the planks are quite narrow. You don't need a lot of paint. I'm just taking a little dab just from the cap, just on the end of the brush there, and just very, very carefully just picking out one of the planks on the side of the wagon. Don't worry too much at this stage if it's not covering up completely. Once that's dried and you've applied the weathering, you won't notice that, but what you will notice is the difference in colour between the normal body colour of the wagon and the colour of the new fresh timber. Now the next stage is to use some of the weathered black, and what we're going to do is we're going to dry brush that on the interior, and by dry brushing we're dipping the paintbrush into the paint and then wiping most of it off on a tissue or cloth or whatever, leaving just a little bit. And then when you drag the paintbrush across that, it just picks out the raised areas of detail on the inside of the wagon. And we're going to do that all over the inside, because obviously the inside would have carried the coal, would have got very, very dirty. I should also say that I was doing this at the same time my youngest son, who's 7, was also doing the same to a couple of the wagons for his train set, so he was very interested in doing that to make his wagons look like they were properly used. So you might be able to see his hand as he sat just beside me there. And we'll have a look at how his wagon turned out at the end of the video. So stay tuned to see a comparison between my work and that of a 7-year-old. So we're just going all the way around the inside of the wagon, dry brushing the weathered black all over the detail on the inside. Make sure that we're picking out all the plank work that's visible. There's some bottom opening doors, and we are just making sure that we're covering everything there. Now the next stage is to give it a quick coat with the acrylic varnish. I've just used a cardboard box to sort of prevent the varnish going everywhere else, but you'd only need a couple of little short sprays. So just a couple of puffs, and it's just to sort of give it that quick coat. And because it's a matte varnish, it kind of dulls down the cover of the colour of the body, again gets away from that plastic, and also gives a key for the next stage of work to key into the surface, because the matte varnish has a slightly rough surface. And now we're going to use the dry brush on a bit of, you could use track colour. I've got some Vallejo paint called Dust. No, it's called dirt, actually. And this is a sort of a browny colour, a light browny colour that represents sort of dust and dirt that you might get thrown up from the track. I'm just dry brushing this across the chassis of the underframe of the wagon, just to sort of, again, dry brushing, picking out those details there. And just dry brushing across gives a sort of light, dusty, grimy look to the underframe. Don't worry too much if you get some of it on the body, because obviously that dust and dirt that's thrown up from the track will also be thrown up onto the side of the body as well. So again, you can do as much or as little of this as you want. If you're looking for just a sort of a lightly used wagon, maybe relatively new, then you can just go over this lightly. If you're looking at a wagon that's seen better days and really had some really heavy use, you could just keep applying this as much as you would like. And if you feel that you've put too much on, you can simply use a clean brush and just brush some of this off. Now we're going to move on to using the black wash. Like I said earlier, a wash is simply a paint that's been thinned down already. So if you don't have a separate wash, you can just use some regular paint and thin that down with some thinners. And the idea is this just runs everywhere. I've poured a little bit into the cap, and you don't need to be too fussy about this, and it's kind of just a case of splashing it all over and spreading it about, letting it run into all the crooks and crannies, nooks and crannies on the side of the wagon, and it's going to give, again, it's going to just tone down the surface of that body and just dull down the brightness of the paintwork of the body. And just make sure you give it a good all-over coating to reduce that sort of glossy sort of sheen that you get, that brightness that you get. So it's going to look quite dark to start with, but once it dries, it's going to dry a little bit paler. So it's going to look maybe at the start as if you've put too much on, but don't worry about that. It will dry and be a little bit paler, and you'll still be able to see some of the livery details underneath. Right, and there you go. Now the next stage is going to be using the weathering powders, and like I said earlier, we've got a number of different types of powder we're going to use. We've got some dark earth, which is sort of again a browny colour, which we're going to use mainly on the lower part, and some smoke, which is what Humbrol call their sort of dark black grey powder. Obviously other brands are available. What I'm doing here is I'm just applying it over this little margarine tub lid, because then if any falls off, it gets captured, and I can then pick that up and maybe mix it in with a bit of the smoke that's fallen off and create sort of a variety of tones. So again, it's just brushing on as much or as little as you want. Again, not forgetting the inside of the wagon, and of course not forgetting that the ends probably get a lot dirtier than the sides do. I find this smoke is really good for coal wagons because it basically gives the appearance of coal dust. These wagons would have had tons and tons of coal chucked in them, unloaded, and then more coal chucked in, and every time coal hits the wagon, some of it breaks up, so there'd be a lot of coal dust around these wagons, and they wouldn't have got a lot of cleaning, unlike like coaches or locomotives would have been regularly cleaned. Again, if you feel that you've put too much on, you can just knock some of it off, use a clean brush and just sort of rub away, and you can remove some of the effect. And there you have it. Using just a few simple materials, we've created a really nicely weathered wagon. Just time to pop the wheels back in. And I've also had a little bit of rust around some of the hinges on the doors on the side of the wagon. And here's a look at what Austin's been working on. This is a wagon which is popular in the Hornby train sets. Not terribly realistic because it's been stretched. But here we can have a close-up look of them. And I think that both of these look really, really good and used. Austin's gone for a slightly lighter covering than me. Gone for quite a heavy wagon. So thank you for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. If you want to catch more weathering videos, click on the playlist, or there's another video recommended there for you. Thank you, and see you again.